All right, I'd like to call the meeting to order. It is 11:12 a.m. Now, if you want to do roll call, please.
Yes, Mr. Chair. District 1.
Here.
District 3.
Here.
I'm here, Mr. Chair.
Yeah, we have a quorum, which thank you. Next up is review and approval of the agenda. I know in the meeting last night, Ellen, that we talked about the water department or public works. So we're going to add that.
Yeah, Mr. Chair.
So we'll add that. So whole business.
And Mr. Chairman, there's been a number of sort of last minute things that have been coming into the legal department for today's meeting. So last night I did send an email out to the RBC with additions to the consent agenda, which were 2 resolutions and an agreement, which the RBC was aware of the agreement from a meeting on Monday. And then there was also a contract amendment for Total Spectrum that was submitted on Monday. And with everything going on, I had assumed that Total Spectrum was going to be here to present that, but I had sent that out to council this morning, and I'm not 100% sure how council wants to handle that. And then there, I know also I had a conversation last week with Mr. Shores about cannabis key contract, and now that has been passed around to everybody. So I just want to highlight those things, and I'm not sure how council wants to handle those or where you want those on the agenda, if you want them on the agenda today.
One at a time.
You want to add those 2?
Just handle them one at a time, I guess.
Mr. Chair, there's also, I believe, I'm not sure where it goes on the agenda, but a request to ratify the decision regarding Muscatel and with the Shooting Star Casino. Is that something on today's agenda to be added?
That was ratified, wasn't it, Al?
You need to ratify it.
Okay.
In fact, Mr. Chair, I do have some agenda requests, and they're quite lengthy, so I will be sure to text message them to the tribal council. Number 1, I see it's already on here, is the District 2 appointment. And then I also see that the waterworks is on there as well. Also, I'd like to add, after the District 2 seat discussion and our decision today, an agenda item immediately following that related to district and at-large representation. After that, I'd like to try to get that public works thing figured out, because I know that's a priority. I see that Lenny had already brought it up, so it's already on my list. A cannabis key proposal. Also, I want to make sure that we add on the agenda, Mr. Chair, number 5, community and community council requests as follows: Monoman, Natawash, Urban, Iron Range, and Natawash Charter School. Number 6, community council stipends. Number 7, Tanya Vold. Number 8, White Earth Police Department. Number 9, tribal courts. Number 10, Second Amendment and treaty rights. Number 11, Shooting Star Casino Tribal Trust issue by tribal attorney. I know Mr. Leonard Thompson had requested that be on the agenda here today. Number 13, clarification on reimbursements for burial fund policy. Number 14, I would like the recension of an opinion that was offered, I believe, the fall of 2020 related to rights of members. And there, I want to make sure that I would like that presented to the membership. I'd like it rescinded because it says in there that members don't have any rights to these meetings. And I want that memo rescinded. So with that being said, Mr. Chair, that is my agenda request to Tribal Council. And I'm certain we will not be able to make it through that in one day. I understand that. So it's going to take maybe a recess or a couple recesses or whatever it may take. However, these are some priorities that I believe the Tribal Council should consider. And I will send them over to yourself and to the staff right now. So thank you, Mr. Chair.
Very good. Motion to approve the agenda
With additions.
with the additions.
Motion with additions, Chair.
Motion by Ray, second.
Second.
Second by Alan, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. All right, next up is review and approval of the meeting minutes for 12/2/2021.
Yeah. On page, Mr. Chair, on page 7 of 15 on 12/2/21, middle section, cannabis key proposal. The line reads, Todd Thompson referenced the cannabis proclamation to RBC and membership. And Kevin, I'd like to add his last name, Shores. Provided a brief update on cannabis and how they can help members. I'd like to add a line in there, Mr. Chair, one more sentence to the effect that says that staff, legal staff were directed to work with Cannabis Key to come forward with a potential proposal on how to move forward on this. I'd like that added to the minutes, Mr. Chair. That being said, I'll motion for approval with changes, Mr. Chair.
Motion to approve the meeting minutes on 12/2/21 with the changes.
Second, Chair.
Second by Raymond, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. All right, we get to, next up is the reports. The chairman report for the officers and the district reps. You know, I guess first of all, I would like to thank everyone for showing up today, coming to our meeting. I know it's good to see all the people that came in today and that want to be a part of our discussions, our government, and how we do business. You know, I think it's important that we do have this transparency here that, and your voices will be heard. So I want to say good to all of them. And also I'd like to thank all the community councils too. I know I've been in a couple meetings here recently with community councils and, listened to them yesterday during our other meeting with one of the state reps. I stopped in and said hi, and it's just good to see that, that our community councils are all engaging into, different parts of our government, including housing and other parts that are taking place throughout our nation and our reservation. So it's really good to see that, and made my heart feel good, and see all the smiley faces out there, and that we're all getting along, and that we're moving forward and addressing issues, that are out there with us. So, and also I wanted to say, which to the District 2 Community Council for, inviting us to the meeting last week when we discussed the open seat, and I thought that went well, and the participation was there, and just felt like there was just a lot of good positive energy at that meeting. I know there's a lot of concerns what we're going to do with that seat, and I know it's later down on our agenda, and we're going to discuss that more. And on the other hand, I got wrote down as our holidays are coming up here. We got Christmas and we have our New Year, and I think I want to say everyone be safe and be worried of COVID, and take the precautionary measures that are in place out there for all of us to stay safe so we can spend time with our families. And it's important that we, that we post a lot of stuff on our Facebook page and website, what are the latest numbers and trends and whatnot that's in or around our communities and our reservations. So I just wanted to tell everyone out there that please be safe and be careful, and that you do matter to me. So be good on that. And then the one piece I wanted to talk about too is, I met with Representative Len, was it Zach Stevens? Samuel Stevens from Coon Rapids, and he was, what's his name?
Oh, Zach Stevens.
Zach Stevens, yeah. And he's from Coon Rapids, and he chairs up the committee on sports betting, and we really had a good conversation with him yesterday, and I know that he's going around to each reservation getting that input that that we're looking at, and what legislation coming up here this spring is that he wants to put together a bill where the Native Americans are going to be the ones to carry this bill and to make sure that we get the benefits for sports betting. So I know it was a really good conversation, and there'll be more news coming, and I know that the details, but we got to remember we're one of 11 tribes. So, but he was out and he said he got the majority of the tribes already, and everyone's kind of in the same consensus, and so hopefully that's something to be coming real soon. And I'll probably do another update on that probably next month, so I know that maybe I'll have the more of that expert to come do an update on that, on where we're at with sports betting here, so. But that's my update, and, I want to say Miigwech again for everyone for participating today, and Miigwech for Merlin for his prayers, and, I know it's important that we follow our ways, and I want to say Miigwech, and thank you.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you to the RBC and our community members here today. I do want to send a heartfelt thank you for my wife, who was recently diagnosed with cancer, and this is an issue that has affected a lot of folks in our community. And the outpouring of support, the outpouring of prayers, the outpouring of good things is greatly appreciated by my family. I do want to thank everyone in this room for that. I also want to add that as far as, I know there was a discussion last night related to ARPA budgeting. Ms. York and staff are working on preparing that ARPA budget for public engagement so that our tribal members and our community councils are going to be part of the discussion around that. That is a priority that I feel the RBC feels is very important, and our council of elders are part of that process of all those dollars are going to be expended. Okay? So they prepared a tentative budget, and at some point here in the near future, for majority of it's approved, we'd like to make sure that our folks have a say to look at that, be part of that planning process as to what that's actually going to look like at the end. And so I do want to thank the staff for putting in the work for that. Also last night, for folks that weren't available to make it, I do know that UND had presented last night on the potential world's first Indigenous health department and chairmanship at UND that specifically supports White Earth Nation. So there's actually going to be I think Clinton Alexander is going to set up a charter bus, for those band members that are interested in seeing that program to get more information on it, where you can get on that bus and go up there for a day and tour and visit the college president and hopefully somebody from the Council of Trustees and talk with staff up there and learn more about their program. I do know that they want a partnership with White Earth Nation, but as the chairman said, we want to include folks in this process. Also last night, I believe it was Dave Wellstone, the Pathfinder, was there, and he had presented on an application that is currently deployed, I think in the urban area, to help some of our urban members struggling with addiction and behavioral health issues. So I am going to request that they come back again and do another presentation so band members can have a better understanding of what that program actually is. And so we can make an informed decision moving forward with that as well. For the community councils, I also want to thank them for coming to these community council summits. I think it's very important that we're having that public engagement, staying in connection with our community, getting feedback, we're moving forward in a good way, and that is the way to move forward in a good way. And also recently, I think it was 2 days ago, we met with Eighth Fire Solar, and they had provided a presentation to the RBC related to rooftop solar units potentially on the reservation. So I do want to thank Eighth Fire Solar for putting together a very good presentation on that. I know they had presented that. I think they're going to come back with some more information for us to take a look at. My hope would be that they would provide information to the membership as well. I do want to clarify that they had requested a, what's it called, Lenny? An NDA?
Theirs was a non-circumvent.
A non-circumvent?
Which is very similar to an NDA, but it's a different form.
It's basically an NDA.
Yeah.
So they also had presented an NDA. So, and I know that's kind of a touchy issue with some of the band membership. And so I do want to bring it to your attention that these things are being discussed, okay? So that's, like the chairman had said, we want to have transparency on that. So that was discussed. And finally, I do want to thank the Council of Elders for putting on a very, very good Elders Christmas party. It was very, very, very warm, very welcoming. I've seen a lot of familiar faces I hadn't seen in a long time. Very good to see those people. And I brought my wife there, and she was just very happy. Very, very happy to see a lot of the folks out in the communities. And this is something that I just look forward to every year. So on that being said, Mr. Chair, I'll turn it over to the District 1 rep. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, Secretary Treasurer, and Mr. Chairman. You know, it's been a very busy time for us here at the Tribal Council with the holidays coming up and past Thanksgiving. I know we get caught up in a lot of different things, but it's not that we're avoiding it or not, but my secretary keeps me pretty well informed of what's going on, because I just got 3 messages right here that call people, so I will get back to them as soon as I get the chance here once we're done this meeting. But you know, it's been a pretty trying time here. You know, we've been working with our homeless department, and we are now going to have a soft opening on January 1st for a hotel in BL. And I'd like to say good Mr. Thompson and Mr. Alexander for working with us and getting this stuff done. You know, it's I hate to say it, but it was a headache to begin with, because we had to jump through so many hoops for the state, because there's 3 different types of homeless. There's the warming shelter, overnight shelter, and then long-term. But each one comes with different sets of rules and different, you know. So we had to go through all this and jump to the hoop with the state and everything, but it's finally all coming together. We do got over here right by the chip factory, we got a place for families right now, and I don't know if that's full yet or.
It usually is.
Yeah, we got the old Weimer house that we got families living in there right now that are homeless. We also got another building coming up there, which should be done hopefully by springtime.
The new one? Yeah, that should be done by February, March.
Yeah, so we got another one coming up in February and March. So our homeless is coming along. I know it takes time, but it's something that we wanted to tackle, and you know, I'm glad we did, because our homeless is here, except the ones in the cities. You know, we've got to find a way to help our homeless in the cities. These are the ones that really, they need it too, just as much as we need it up here, but we are getting things done up here. But I would like to see something in the city, but down there, they got so many codes and different things. They got to have sprinklers in there, they got to do this, that. I don't know, they want us to flip over backwards, some, I guess, but I think if we can work with the mayor, I think we can get things done down there also. But I'm just thankful that on January 1st, we are going to open down there at DL. Our Christmas party that we had up there in Rice Lake on Sunday went excellent. We had a good dinner, we had a good turnout. We had a very good Santa Claus. I don't want to mention his name because he didn't want me to mention it, because he said, "Oh no, don't mention my name, Ray, because then they'll be trying to get me to be Santa Claus all over." He made for a great Santa Claus. His first name is Frank, I will say that. But he made for a pretty good Santa Claus, and what Alan was saying was with Mr. Wellston. I'm glad that we did get a chance to introduce this last night with our committee councils. It's a networking deal that goes with people who are in problems in alcohol and drugs, and a lot of people don't like to dial 911. They'd rather talk to a counselor or somebody in there. So what they do is they put you in a group of people that are kind of in the same category as you. So if you pick up your phone and you get on there, you can see who's all on there. So you can contact them right now. If they feel that you need a counselor, they'll put you to a counselor, they'll put you through to a hospital. And I know there was some question as to whether it should be confidential. Well, it is very confidential, because we met with them, and they're working with bigger hospitals right in the Twin Cities. That help them down there. This UND deal, I think that's a very good deal that we're gonna try to get into it. I encourage everybody next week to get on this bus next week and go out there with us and tour this place. And check it out and let's see what they got to offer. I mean, I think this is one of a kind thing that come about. Otherwise, I know it's been pretty busy with Christmas. Hope you all get your Christmas shopping done. I don't, and I got at least one more day left. I got all my adult kids that I had to get for yet, but everything's going good, and I'm glad to see you all here, and I welcome you all here today, and we're good for being here, and that's my report. We're good.
Hey, Rich.
Bonjour, everyone. This past month's been pretty busy. Alan and I went help with the Gun Lake stuff. I had to leave early and I helped sort it, and everything was, it was last minute because they showed up a few days earlier, but we did get it out, and well, I don't know how they got it out, but I had to leave early, but I did help sort it, and everything seemed to be going right. The food that was left over, we gave to the our food shelf. I know some Pampers went to the mom's program. As far as I know, everything went great. I'm not sure. I'm just so honored that Gun Lake, provided us with those donations. It was awesome, and they are awesome people. The elders party went great. I thought Mike did a good job at emceeing it. A lot of elders showed up, and it was good to see all their faces. Bingo went well with very little screw up, except for when Puggy dropped the balls all over the place. That was all good. I want to say Chini Gwitch to all the community councils of all their work they have done for this Christmas time in their communities. It's awesome. I've been looking at the pictures, and oh my God, it's just overwhelming to see all the children and all of our Res Santas. They all did a great job. Even a Res Mrs. Claus, I won't mention her name. I've been attending the wider community council meetings. They have asked that a representative be there. I'm hoping to get out to Pine Point and Elbow Lake too. I just gotta find out when their meetings are. I don't know when their meetings are. We're gonna talk about the $1 million set aside for elders today. I know Mike Thompson's ready to go. Housing's ready to go. They just need to know how many we're gonna do in each district, because housing will have the 20,000 per home to work on. And they need to know if they're gonna go by a point system. I don't think there's gonna be any, was there gonna be income guidelines? I don't think so, huh? Just, I think the point system would be how bad their house, what they need and how bad it is. So that's something we as a council have to talk about today. I also want to send my condolences out to all those that have lost people in my district. I just heard of another one last night. She was living in Minneapolis, but we lost a young man to COVID. And then, of course, Bill. That was a hard loss for our reservation. And then Melvin Thompson, I want to just send my condolences out to all the families and everyone that's having a tough time this holiday season. I think the employee party went well. It was fun. I mean, I had fun. I liked the comedian. He was kind of crazy. That was fun to see. And, Gun Lake gifted us with the talking stick, which I would like to implement into our meetings. When people, want to talk, they can hold that stick, and, I think that'll be a big plus for us in our meetings. Even as tribal council should be holding that stick. I mean, they were awesome people. They gave out gift cards to all the vets. There was plenty, so they called up the vets from the audience, and they each got a gift card. None was left over that I know of. So I'm just thankful to the vets and Gun Lake. Fire did give on, we met with them and they did have a good proposal, so that's something that we'll be meeting with them again. Net zero is another thing we met on, and that's housing that will be pretty much energy efficient. So that's something I'm looking forward to get more information on. And I think that's about it. Jimmy Glitch.
Thank you, Annie. Next up is the elders update.
Hello. Okay, so you can hear me. Thank you, everyone, for being here. It's good to see everybody. And Merry Christmas, everybody.
Okay.
I don't get a chance to say it. Our elder council meets every month on the first Tuesday of the month, and we scatter our meetings throughout the reservation. One of the things we asked for before we came to this meeting is for minutes, so that we could kind of review and see if some of the things were addressed that we had brought up at each meeting. And it would save a lot of time if we just got those minutes and then were able to go through them. And I asked Lori if we could meet with like Mike and some of them also prior to the meeting and be able to again save time and know that our concerns are being addressed. Now, I don't see anybody here from Indian Health Service. That is one of our big concerns. You know, new clinic is being done out at Netawash, but how are you going to fill it? You know, we don't even have doctors in Whiter. That's a big concern. And that was part of a discussion last night. Remember when we talked about this endowment program through UND, where they would train, actually, our request was from the elders, that they would train good management people, our people, not somebody else, not non-Indians. We're trying to get our own Native people back here, trained in different positions. Medical, the medical field is a big concern for us. And many of our people that became MDs or psychologists or whatever left the reservation because there's nothing here for them when they completed their training. So I'm hoping that when we tour this facility over at UND, that they're able to tell you a lot of those concerns that we have. I know they listened last night. I came to the meeting and it was very interesting. But, you know, I want to know more about it. As elders, we're always wondering, what is this about? How, you know, how is it going to affect our elder population? Those kind of things. One of the concerns we had, and I hope that Mike can address many of them, I think he will, but we talked about the repairs, small repairs or something like that. We're not getting them done. And people, you know, if they call and say, I can't get out my door, it's froze, you know, what do I do? Or they're using air thing to thaw it out. Or windows are still broken. You know, I know that there's a lady in Foxford that her windows have been broke forever. Same way with Guy at the Congregate. He's been living there now, how long?
This is his third winter.
Third winter, and that window is still broken. So,
Stace has reached out to DW Jones and he said that they are going to be replacing it. I haven't interfered with it yet, but I do want to respond to his email back to her.
well,
So that's going to be taken care of, but he still didn't tell us when.
well, the when is what we want to know too. It's been 3 years already. And, you know, these people shouldn't have to live with things like that, some minor repairs. We want to get and one of our concerns also was getting our people back to training. It doesn't necessarily have to be, you know, doctorates or whatever, but training in carpentry and plumbing, those are big issues here. And when we try to get one, it costs us an arm and a leg to get somebody out. The Christmas party, thank you, everybody that came and enjoyed themselves. I've seen a lot of people that I hadn't either for a long time. One of the concerns with the party, and we'll address it, was that they didn't give out the gifts at the beginning. It should have been done with the registration, and I apologize for that because some people had to leave, so they weren't given that gift. It should have been done at the beginning. The White Earth Community Council provided a Thanksgiving meal for elders around the White Earth area. We tried to get names of people that were homebound, and they did deliver the meals. It was very good. It's excellent. Thank you to White Earth Community Council. They did a good job there. That is another of our concerns. When you close the RBC, everyth's closed, so we don't have access to a concern. And like I said, one that can open the door or whatever. I know there's many others. And I hear that you're going to close again tomorrow and Friday. Well, at least the elders out again that are homebound, they send a meal. Granted, they do that, but it's potato chips in a sandwich all the time for our elders. I don't think that's okay. No, because they look forward to that meal, and sometimes that's the only meal they get. So when you're planning your vacations or whatever, holidays, take that into consideration because our elders should be taken care of. IHS, again, we haven't had any representation here for I don't know how long. And we're getting lots of calls about, they're just giving pills all the time. Fix it, give them a pill, fix it. And then shipping them out. And our people are dying. They're not being diagnosed early enough, and that's a big concern of ours. They can't get a referral out because IHS has to make that referral. And many of our people can't pay the extra monies when they're referred out. So that's where, again, they're worried about their taxes being taken from them for a bill that wasn't paid. So, if you can get that meeting set up that was supposed to happen, that's really important also to us. I think we have some life left in us, so. Sam, do you have anything that you want to add?
Yeah, I could add to a little bit of that if you would. Tito touched on a lot of issues. We talked about this. I just need to say thanks to the people that over the last week or two. Yesterday, Pine Point, we delivered close to 60 meals, turkeys, hams, and in a bag, feed 6 people for Christmas. Those went to elders mostly, and I want to thank Mike, the Rocks, CFOs, for helping us deliver them to Homebound yesterday, and those that help us, and to the Park Rapids Food Shelf that so gratefully donated to our food shelf out there to fix these dinners for these elders. And then I want to thank Ed Stutzinger for donating a lot of hand sanitizers, masks for our food shelf and for my brother's funeral, where we had the other day. And Cheryl and Mike for their help in our time of sorrow. And Tito touched on this issue of elders going 3 to 5 days on a weekend with no food from EMP. I'd like to have seen EMP here today, but I don't see anybody. I volunteered with EMP for years and years. And my mother worked for EMP and another elderly lady. And I seen them go on Christmas, Thanksgiving, Easter, work a half a day, get up at 6 o'clock in the morning, go cook a dinner so elders could have their food on that day. And now it seems they can't even get one 3 or 4 days before, or 2 days after. This is not acceptable. I mean, I think these people are getting paid. We talked about this the last time at the meeting. If you got a job, do it. You get paid for doing it, do it. You know, don't be calling in and saying, I can't do it, I don't want to work this day, I don't want to work that day. I don't know where the problem is. We talked about it, I think, Mike and we had the last commission meeting about this issue. And I don't see, you know, people are paid very well to do their job. Whether you're elected, whether you're hired, whether you're the boss, or whether you're the low person on the totem pole. You've got a job, elders going on. So please do your job. Otherwise, you know, we'll have to find somebody who will. And on that issue, but I'd like to say on the Christmas party, thanks for the RTC that attended it. Your help was really gratefully appreciated, and the people had a chance to talk to you. Thank you to Cheryl for honoring one of our Pine Point elders at 97 years old. Really enjoyed it. And a few other things. Tito talked about we switched things this year from getting gifts, cards, Walmart cards. I'm not a big fan of Walmart cards, because anytime you do money, you're going to have some things going wrong with it. There was people that were getting, I had to leave early because of my brother's funeral, and Joan and I went to pick up ours, and there was people ahead of us that were getting 5 and 6 of them at a time. That isn't how it was set up to do. It should have been set up, like Tito said, at the beginning of it, and I'd like some accountability to whoever's got the rest of the cards. There was 400 cards there ordered for that. I don't think we had 400 at that party. So someplace there's some more cards in. We need that accountability as elders. I'd like to thank to all attendees that attended the Christmas party, Mr. Mike the Rock for being our MC. He did a great job. And, I've had a lot of good things to hear about the Christmas party and a few issues. That was just some of them that we worked on. We're going to be working on in the next days to come before New Year's, I think. So, thank you all.
One of these days, one of us, we might be depending on those meals as well. They ought to keep that position open throughout the New Year's, the holidays, to keep our elders fed 24/7. Yeah, that should be, double pay them or something. Keep that position wide open.
Thank you, Todd. I appreciate those who support us on that. Like I said, for Thanksgiving, thank God for the White Earth Community Council. They did prepare a meal. For Christmas now, since we heard this, Joan and I are trying to work something out so we can prepare a meal up there for at least for the congregate people. And some of our elder people will be doing that. So if anyone wants to join in, you're certainly welcome to help us.
I got 2 turkeys I can donate.
Okay, well, then but we need help with the cooking, with serving and that kind of stuff too.
Just need help with
Bam,
Just plain help.
reach out.
But I also want to thank all the council members for their support in many of the programs that we have. We don't come here just to bitch. We come here also to thank programs that do help us out. We're one day everybody's going to be in our position, older, and will need some help. We don't like to ask for it, but I think that's one of the things in our tradition that was always sacred to us, take care of our elders. So with that, anybody else from, do you have anything to add? Okay.
What, Kevin?
It was brought up in the past during one of the meetings about possibly on the White Earth Nation page that they set up like a elderly emergency number to where the elders have a number to call in these situations where they find themselves frozen in their room or they have no food or they need assistance. Has there been any kind of movement of providing that kind of instant reach out for the elders?
Everybody's looking to Mike. Thompson.
Oh, they were looking at both of them. Same like teams. Well, I can say that we have our dispatch number that's 24/7, and we have all the information on all the advocates. We have on the navigators. We have all the numbers in our dispatch to get to where they need to go. And I think it would be safe to say that we're going to answer our phone, so because it's 24-hour dispatch. So I can say that we could put that number out there for the elders.
But will the navigators answer too?
Yes.
And I
Make
also,
sure they do. That's one of the things that when it's an emergency like that, you're either going to get you're either going to get a cop, or you're going to get a navigator, or you're going to get an advocate. That's what we can make that stuff happen.
I only say that because this one person I was talking about called me 3 times. She called the numbers I gave and didn't get a response. So, that's all we're asking is that communication be there for us. Because when the people have an emergency, we don't know who to get a hold of. And oftentimes, if it's in the Pine Point area, I'll call Sam and he'll help with it. In White Earth, I know of a few people that at least can do a little repair if it's an emergency. We had one with an electrical problem. Well, who do we call there? It's, we don't want them to have that ignite and during the night. So we're supposed to have an electrician at housing. The problem with that is when we call, they say, "What is it? A housing house?" Mm-hmm. And if it's not, then they can't help us. We've been begging for this forever. Some kind of emergency assistance when things like that happen. And again, you know, I want to thank the programs that do help, but these are brought up all the time, and I think they need to be addressed.
I guess I would suggest, because with Annie, we're dealing with one right now, elder that has no power. So I would suggest that maybe we put something out there. You put the $1 million ahead for the families or for the houses, homeowners and stuff like that, elders and all that. There should be something set aside for those emergency things, because what I'm hearing is that there's nobody around in the area that is really qualified to do electrician work and stuff like that. And if there is, they're going to want to get paid extra, you know, for emergency going out there, blah, blah, blah. You know, so I think it would be beneficial to have something, even a fund or whatever, something that says we're going to be calling this electrician up, we're going to be calling this person up, because electricity in the wintertime is one of the worst enemy right there. You don't have electricity, you don't have your furnace, you don't have anything. So there's your pipes are freezing, everything like that. So it'd be nice if there was not only a place you can call. If you call dispatch would have those numbers to the advocate. The advocate start the ball rolling to where we're going. Mike's program here. Get somebody out there, and then who's going to pay for it? That's the thing that we always get all the time. Okay, you're going to send somebody out there. They're going to ask who's going to pay for it.
Yeah.
That's, you know.
Well, if I may add in, we are looking at a guy up in District 1 at Clark Electricians. And it was brought up in not this meeting, but the last meeting. I brought it up that we should bring him on as a contractor to do these small odd jobs throughout the reservation. And I believe the council did agree to that. Now, I don't know if Laurie has been working on that or not, but we were going to bring Kevin Clark on as a reservation-wide electrician, so for these types of needs, except that he don't work on he can work on furnaces, but he can come and hook your furnace up, but he don't know about the furnace itself. So if the furnace is out, but he can come check out and let you know what's wrong with it. And then at the same time, we are looking for plumbers or a plumber also. I mean, so we are in the process of working on that, of getting a plumber, electrician, you know, that can be on call for us anytime we need them. And then that way the tribal council takes care of it, and you don't have to worry about where the money's come from. All you do is call him, he'll come out, get it done, then he'll bill it to the council. So we are working on money for that.
I'd like that.
This past weekend, I had an elder by 113 out of water. Her dad's handicapped, her husband had a heart attack, and he wasn't doing very well, so none of them could crawl under there. She reached out to me. I reached out to Lynn Tibbetts. Lynn Tibbetts took care of her. She found somebody to go over there. In the meantime, I was contacting Matt with our water and sewer, and finally they went out there and they beat the other guy. So I told Lynn, just, you know, and Lynn said, well, and I told Matt, and bill it to me. I mean, you know, because these elders ain't gonna afford it. I mean, she didn't have signal, so it was hard. But that, you know, with our White Earth Builders, when that was first brought to be, it's supposed to be our own carpenters, our own electricians, our own plumbers. But somewhere along the road, that got turned into them overseeing the big projects, which we still don't have no carpenters, electricians. So I don't know. The plan is still there, written as it was never changed. So that's what I'm trying to get back to with White Earth Builders, is get that rolling the way it was supposed to have been in the first place. So, you know, once we get that going, and Tito, I gave you my number. Remember at that thing? And reach out to me. I mean, I'll answer my phone.
I have reached out.
We get our jobs in training more involved in a lot of the things we're doing here. I've been working closely with what we've been kind of doing is branching out to, like, we'll do an elder's home. Now, if we notice something that needs to be fixed, like a broken window or a door, we'll do what we can. Now we'll go down the channels through jobs in training, and they'll reach out to different advocates where they need the help.
Well, I think that's where Mike will come in. you know?
assist them in any way. The last rumor was that each elder was getting $1,000 for improvements.
I don't know, I think
Yeah,
it's,
that's,
I don't know.
that'd be our part of the funding. That's kind of how we broke it down. And those are for the small, like the windows and the doors and appliance if needed. So we
What they
can,
let us do is basically do what we can with the materials we got to move on. Then whatever we noticed within that house and talking with the homeowner, we'll put that information forward to our bosses. And then they'll hit the advocates that this elder needs. Now, it's not as smooth as I'd like it to be or see or be as quickly.
well, right now, they don't even have access to that money. So we gotta figure that out today so we
yeah,
can give them that money.
we've been racking up bills and
Yeah, and it's
just sending people
difficult.
out to do it.
I've been just
But what I
telling
liked about it is that we were front line, got to
What
see
we're told is they need a code and for the monies.
Yeah.
So we did notice the elders that needed it.
Been having.
So maybe it's communication.
I think maybe it could be part of that,
And
but
they're supplying the materials. We owe them the labor dollars.
Bottom line, what I'm hearing is when I hear about elders not receiving meals for 2 days because RBC is shut down. You know, why are they shutting down? They were elected to do a 24/7 job. Where is it that says that they deserve that time off when our frontline workers, our different business entities are still working? You know, the bottom line is if they were doing their job in their office, answering their phones, there's a lot of these issues that wouldn't be happening. You know, the elected officials, you need to be in there because you really want to do for the people. I think if we lowered your salary, maybe we would get people in there that really cared about the people.
Just so you know, my phone goes off constantly. I do return calls every chance I get. And like I said, my secretary gets a hold of me, I get back to that person.
How did they get a hold of your secretary if
My
they're not
phone is
there?
busy all weekend long. Whether I'm on travel, whether I'm home, my phone is going off and I'm answering it.
How did they get a hold of your secretary if
They
they're
call
not off?
on the weekend, they don't, so they call me. I put my personal number out there for that purpose. I put both my numbers out there. And my phones are going off. You just see me right here. I just looked at another one. I was just shaking my head. But that is my job to take that phone call. So when I get done with you, I am going to return these calls. So you're saying that we're not doing it? Yes, we get them. I got to shut my phone off at 10 o'clock because my phone's going off. Because if I don't, I'm getting calls up. But I do leave it on. If I look on there and see if it's an emergency, they will text me. They will call me 3-4 times. Then I know it's an emergency. So right away I get on there and I help them out and get them rooms out in Fargo or whatever they may need. So I can assure you, I am doing my job by getting on these phones. It's a weekend, weekdays, weeknights, you name it. They're calling.
Households not going without meals because you're closed down, the elders are.
Anita, I would just like a point of clarification that the ENP does deliver meals on those days. They're baked lunches, and there's a concern about the nutritional value in those baked lunches. So I do want to make that point of clarification. I did reach out to Pat Butler to have a meeting with the elders following the RBC meeting to address the issues regarding the meals and the quality of the meals delivered during that time. So I just wanted to make sure there was clarification that the meals are still coming. Mr. Thompson, thank you very much for your recommendation of that being a 24/7 service for our elders. And that is something that I think we should take into consideration in moving that program towards. In addition to that, I also want to speak and say that our tribal leaders do lead with their heart and for the people. They may disagree on different issues, but I can attest to this. I get messages at 12 a.m., 1 a.m. from our leaders following up on different concerns that are immediate. Their phones are constant, all day long, every day, 24/7, even on weekends. Just wanted to make sure that everybody was aware of that because a lot of the times we're contacted as staff to respond to these different incidences. So Miigwech for your time. I just wanted to speak to that.
Well, I just got that hearing Ray say he shuts his phone off at 10 p.m.
Well, how would you like it if you were getting calls all night long and then somebody asking for this and that when the businesses are closed down? I can't help them after 4:30 unless I get a hold of a lawyer or somebody, which I do. And like she said, if I feel it's an emergency, I get a hold of who I have to get a hold of to get them the help that they need. But otherwise, my phone's going off sometimes 2 o'clock in the morning. Somebody wants a gas booster. Where am I going to get a gas booster at 2 o'clock in the morning? Sometimes I will take those calls and I will take the money out of my own pocket to give it to them, to get to where they need to be. So I am taking care of my job, or I should say my district. So I do dig out of my own pocket at times to help people out when I can't get a hold of somebody else in there. So yeah, I don't turn it off, I turn it down. But I do check it periodically because there are emergencies that come up. But when you're getting calls saying, well, I need this here and this here, no, I can't help you. It's after 4:30. Why do you call now? Well, I work at night. Well, okay, we'll take care of it in the morning. Even if it's a Saturday, I'll tell them, call me in the morning. I'll get the right person and we can get in there and I'll find them. And we will get you that help. So I'm just letting you know, my phones go off. I mean, already right today now, I've gotten 6 calls today that want help. And one is a service, a funeral service. They want help. So yeah, I am going to get back with them. So my phones are going off 24/7. I do take care of those.
If I may, each situation is its own merit. And I want to personally thank the council for the arduous task of being the council. You know, because I like to believe that you guys aren't able to micromanage everything. And so you need people under you to delegate things to happen. And I'm finding this out personally because as Cannabis Aki is trying to move forward with this, it's not easy to get hold of the council all the time. But I am, like Ray says, I'm receiving phone calls from Ray. Usually it's in a pretty good short time factor that he returns calls, you know, but it would be best of us to try or attempt to give the council some slack because there's over 19,000 enrolled members and there's only 4 of them. So how can 4 people, without being able to delegate people underneath them to help them, how can these 4 people attend to 19,000 people? And I understand that our emergency is an emergency to us, you know, but our emergency isn't always someone else's emergency. You know, and when we get caught up in the emotion of the emergency right now, we tend to make poor decisions or say things that aren't best, you know. So I'd like to personally thank the council for attempting their job. However, as I've stated many times, if I see negativity, you know, I feel it's my obligation as an enrolled member to point that out. So we all have positive, we all have negative, we all have neutrality, and hopefully we can stay positive or minimally neutral in our circumstances.
Mr. Chairman, I want to talk to Tito a second. We go back to where she first originated from about the help that the elders need in emergency situations. In public safety and getting a lot of the calls with our CSOs, working with the elders and working with other people, I believe that a lot of these problems could be rectified, could be prevented before they become the emergencies with these programs that the council is talking about, where you have people that come out and they come out and fix. There's some electrical problems that the ones we've been dealing with now. Those issues could have been taken care of this summer. That her electrical problem was going on for a long time. So you get somebody out there to fix her electrical problem, an electrician looks at it and says, I won't touch that with a 10-foot pole because it's such a mess. That stuff could be prevented. And I think that's what they're getting at. They're getting at, we gotta get to these preventable things that we can get to when the time comes up and not make them emergencies. There's gonna be emergencies, we all know that. But a lot of times when we get called, we can't help either because they probably should have been prevented. Are you gonna deal with an electrical problem at 30 below or 30 above? It would be more sense at 30 above or 40 above. I think it's just these preventable things that they should be addressing for the elders, I believe. So that's my 2 cents.
Well, and sometimes, Mike, we don't get the call right away.
That's what I mean.
We don't know what's going on till it is an emergency. So, and I don't know how we can rectify that. We got 2 elder, staff that do try to do their best to, I'll text, Lisa Arlen and I, tell them, this elder needs help, and they try to get to him as fast as they can. But then again, we've got our office staff that does great at reaching out to people and try to figure out stuff, but it's not easy when, the time we get the call, it's already passed.
I would agree. And one of the programs that we partnered with Beaver Health is that where we have these navigators that go out, they know everybody in the community, and that's what I think we're getting back to is you have to know everybody in the community, and it's not like you're butting in their business and you're not butting in their business telling them what to do. You're just trying to be there for them when they need help. That's the bottom line.
And I think they do great because, I reach out to them too. So, and I reach out to you guys all the time too. So, I get a response like that, and and that's how I try to respond to somebody too. Some of them tell me, geez, that was quick. Well, I'm going to look at my phone and answer you if I can.
Mike, if I could say something on what Lori just said about those home delivered meals. I don't know how many elders we have in here. But I used to be one that got home delivered. I think, Joe and you, they do this when EMP is not set up. Now, how many of you, if somebody brought you a dinner, a granola bar, and that hard apple that you can't eat if you don't have cheese? What else is there? A frozen pot pie and no milk or anything to drink. That's the meal they deliver when they are not open. That's not a meal.
So, Sam, thank you for bringing this information forward. And like I had talked with Tito about, we'll have a meeting with the health division following the RBC meeting, and all of those concerns can be brought forward. And we will consider a program like Mr. Thompson had recommended, a 24/7 service, so we can provide the quality meals to our elders and that's being taken care of.
And complaints we get most about those meals.
One other update as it pertains to the question with the trade school. We did have a conversation with the college here in Minoman, and that was there was a conversation about what that would look like and if we're able to do that. At that time, we were told yes, that's something that they could implement and put into play. It's my understanding that Curtis sent an email out to White Earth Builders and bringing forward the current president of the college together to have that conversation about how are we going to get this implemented and how are we going to get it into play.
One other program under jobs and training is Carroll. Right now, they really need some work, but they could fill the positions that was brought up before as far as electrical, carpentry. The program is reservation-wide, so it's not just coming out of Nadawash. We can tap into the workforce that's out there.
I think that was brought up previously, and it's my understanding that there was insurance and liability issues with that. But it's something that we can continue the conversation with.
And again, I want to thank
the programs anyway.
Thank everybody for the help that you do give. It's not to criticize. We're saying these are some of the little incidentals that happen, and when they call us, we try to reach out to all the navigators or whoever around. Now, also, I talked with Lori before the meeting, and I said if I got a hold of the minutes early enough so we could go through them, I think we would save a lot of time there, and we could address most of the issues in that meeting, just like she said with ENP. To let them know what actually happens with an elder out there that can't eat an apple, and a lot of them aren't able to cook. So we got to consider their health needs. And if we can sit down and address that, then fine. But that's what we're saying is we worry about the elders that are homebound, that are in need of a hot meal, at least one per day.
Thank you, Tito. I'd like to, we got staff over here that are waiting to serve lunch for us. So I know there's a few questions out there. I know Pam wants to say, but after lunch, can you wait till after we go off break here? We'll do a little break right now, and then Merlin or Mary, you help Merlin with this little spirit plate so we can pray for the food, and then we'll eat something, and then we'll go back into the meeting. Be quick. So we're on break.